back to our anime show. I am Bingemonster.
And I am Agreenqueen.
I'm telling you, I had that planned for the past 2 hours.
Did you?
I was like, what if when I start the podcast, I say that I'm a Bingemonster?
What if I had proposed that I open today?
I
What would you have done?
We just saved it for next time. Oh, wow. That went so seamlessly. You know what? This is how you know that we're real besties, because you, without a drop of a hat, so in sync, so in time, we're like, yes, and I am a green queen. Like, you had my back so hard just then. I want the listeners to know this is a real friendship, okay? This is a real friendship. That was not planned. That was not planned. It was planned for me. It was not planned for you.
That's true.
Listeners, our wonderful OAS listeners, we are going to do an early seasonal check-in. So we're going to talk about some of the anime that I and Bingemonster have been watching this season. What are we thinking about them so far? What do we think about the season as a whole? Have we dropped anything? Are we really liking other things? We're just going to kind of break it down a little bit, check in, and have a pal of a time. So, Bingemonster, I wanted to just go ahead and pose a question straight to you. What are you watching this season?
I feel like I'm watching almost everything I said I was going to watch, which I feel pretty good about, because it's been a couple of seasons since that has truly been the case. I'll start with what I'm most consistently watching, which is that time I got reincarnated with as a slime, which is on season 3. And I don't know. I just don't think people appreciate that anime enough. It's so consistent. I don't know if that's the right word. It's really entertaining, and doesn't remind me of the police sirens that I can hear behind you.
They're on your end. They're not on my end.
They're on my end?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're coming for you. They're coming for you because you said that time I got reincarnated with a slime. Bro, what? It's on its 3rd season. I'm just kidding.
It is. And I love the show. It's so good. So I'm watching that. I am watching Bartender, which I'm really enjoying.
Oh, Bingemonster, we gotta put a special mini segment in here for Bartender. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And then I'm watching Irregular at Magic High School season 3, which I'm enjoying as well, although I have some thoughts on it too. I am watching The Misfit of a Demon King, which I'm a little bit behind on. I'm definitely behind on Kaiju No. 8, but I am watching that. I'm watching Mushoku Tensei, but I'm a little bit behind on that. And I also started watching, and I don't even know if that's airing this season or if this was last season, but I remember you talking about it a couple weeks back. So maybe it was last season, but I'm watching the Delicious in Dungeon anime.
Isn't it so good?
I'm enjoying it.
I'm slowly working through that one, but it started last season, but it's continuing. It's getting a full. I think so. I think episodes? They're on episode. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I downloaded it on Netflix the other day to watch it on the plane because I had pretty much seen everything else that Netflix has, and I was like, well, Ali mentioned this and she said it was enjoyable, so I just downloaded 4 episodes flying to New York the other day, and so I've been watching that. But I mean, ultimately, I think one of the reasons we wanted to do this check-in was because I think that while there are some shows that are, I think, really exciting so far, there are some that haven't even started yet. Demon Slayer hasn't even started yet.
Oh my god!
Doesn't start until next week. No, not till the 12th, I think. So I'm gonna watch that when it comes out. Yeah. But then there are some that I've dropped, and there's some I don't know. One thing I am excited to talk to you about is whether or not this season is just slower, or if it's just me. If it feels like a particularly slow season or start to a season. I don't know if it's because we're at that weird 4 or 5 weeks in where the plot has to build, and they're laying the foundation for the storyline for the season, but it just feels not as, I don't know, like I don't feel that excitement. There are some I do, don't get me wrong, but like I don't know if you feel the same way. But what, I guess we can get back to that. What are you watching?
Yeah, I definitely want to circle back to that question because I think it's a good one and I do have thoughts on it. As far as what I'm watching, I'm definitely watching Kaiju number 8. I am caught up on that one. I just caught up on Bartender a little bit earlier.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess if we're counting Delicious and Dungeon, I don't even know what episode I'm on. Like me and Cheeks just like continue where we were last watching before bed sometimes and just like honestly have a fun time because it's so like it feels low stakes but also somehow like an informative thing, but like we're cooking monsters, like it's so good in a weird way. It's so good. I am also, I started Windbreaker. Have you heard of Windbreaker?
I've heard of it. Yeah,
It's a
I haven't
delinquent
watched it though.
it's a delinquent anime that was kind of put on my radar within the past week, and I watched the first 2 episodes and like I like it. I
Hmm.
do like it. I think it's cool. I think the characters are cool. um but I think that might be truly all I'm watching. I was watching A Thing Called Love, I think is what it's called, but I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, okay, like this might be like my nice palate cleanse. It's a romance. Um, and you know, like I didn't get a great feeling about one of the main characters, just like in the like immature, like obsessive kind of like please be my girlfriend thing. It wasn't, it didn't like hit me and grasp me, so I did wind up dropping it because a friend of mine, Roundy, actually one of our listeners and you know someone who's very active in our community, had said that he dropped it, and I was like, honestly, like why did you drop it? And he was like, I just couldn't see past the main character, like it wasn't interesting to me, blah blah. So I did drop that one because I was like, I it's almost like I wanted an excuse to not have to worry about it because I didn't love it right away, which is saying something. You know, is that on me? Like I gave it only one episode to not love it. So I dropped that one, and I haven't started Whisper Me a Love Song yet. I'm gonna give that a shot. And then the voiceover one I just haven't gotten to. It sounded so cute, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. So I hope I'll
Hmm.
watch that and see what it's like. But I'm at least consistent on Kaiju, Windbreaker, and Bartender. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think that's all I'm watching. Ugh, what a sad list. Only 3. Meh. But you didn't drop any, right? You didn't drop
No,
any that you talked
I was
about.
just gonna say I kind of, so like I watched I, I said that I'm watching Mushoku Tensei, but I am not
Yeah.
watching it week to week. I'm
Yeah.
really dragging my feet, and I may catch up, but I also might drop it until a later time. I don't know. You know, it's been really frustrating though because I also watched the first episode of My Hero, not realizing what I was in store for, and I should have read about it. Like, I guess it's kind of like expected that I'm in the know about these things, given that we literally talk about anime on our podcast. But I just didn't realize that the first few weeks of My Hero were going to be these like memory episodes that go back in time and just, I don't know, they're just,
Oh, that's why I saw My Hero season 7 on the currently watched.
yeah. I mean,
Oh, I
it
didn't
just,
even realize that came back.
yeah. It's airing this season, but it just hasn't actually started, and we're like 5 weeks in, which is
Yeah.
for me more frustrating than that one episode in the middle of
No.
solo leveling.
No.
It
No, you're
is.
wrong. You're wrong.
It is like
Honestly,
we.
you're not wrong. You're
It's
not wrong.
if it was one, which they have done before at the start of the
Mhm.
season to just like give a quick recap and settle everybody in. Fine. Two, okay, you're kind of pushing it. Three, what's going on here? Four, I'm angry. Five, I'm way more angry. I'm just angry. Like I don't really value what I'm seeing.
Is it
And
like, oh, I'm so sorry. Is it like, just so I can understand, they're going through like all of the story memories, or they're
they're
just like
doing it through
specific
the
memories?
lens of specific characters. So like one was about Shigaraki, and like another was about someone else, and like they're doing it through the lens of certain characters, and I think they've done it 4 or 5 times now, and I just like I don't care. I know, I remember. You genuinely could have in one, at most two, but ideally one, just done a recap of all the important things that needed to be done. Just like they've done this creatively before. Like oh, I'm writing in my journal about things in the past, and I'm so better for it. Like I hate them, but they do a decent job of that, and I just don't care for this.
So wait, so they're memories that are just sort of like standalone side stories, or they are memories that are sort of like informing the context of the overarching story where season 7 is supposed to pick up.
I'd be lying to you if I could answer that fully, and tell you I could. Like I don't know because I'm not watching them. I just refuse to watch them. But from what I did watch,
Hmm.
they're just memories and scenes that we've already seen through the lens of certain characters, and maybe there's some new content mixed in there that I'm it's for. Maybe there's some that I'm just missing, that like some new content that I'm unaware of, and so like okay, now that I'm saying this out loud, maybe I feel a little bad, and I'll go back and check, but not for more than one of them.
I
I
didn't mean to
just
change your mind. I was
No,
just
no, it's
curious.
okay. No, I mean, look, I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to like say some. I don't want to say anything incorrect. But from what I'm observing, it just looks like a recap through the lens of different moments and different characters. Like one was Izuku Midoriya Resolve. The other one was All Might's Embers, and the other one was Hero's Convictions. And most recently, it was Shigaraki's Destruction. And they're not they're not new episodes. They're just
Mm.
scenes that led up to those themes, and snap moments that relate to the themes of those titles, and like I don't know. So apparently it's supposed to start for real this week or next week, whatever. But I don't know.
Lame. Kind of lame.
It is.
I don't
It
love it, if
is.
I'm being honest. So are you saying basically like you haven't dropped
I
Binge
it didn't
Monster
start.
dropped My Hero Academia. You
I
heard it
did.
here.
I've dropped what's there. That's for certain. It just doesn't even feel like it started, but it has. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And then Mushoku Tensei, like I'm not dropped it yet, but I'm like leaning towards dropping it. I know a lot of people are talking about Windbreaker though. It's all over TikTok. I get it. Everybody really likes it, and it's like being compared to what's it called 2.0,
Tokyo
Tokyo
Revengers.
Revengers.
Yeah.
Eh, there's a there's just it's there's a great manhwa called Windbreaker, which has a sequel called Windbreaker. No, not Windbreaker. The Breaker, Breaker or the Breaker, and then Breaker New Waves. One of them,
Whoa.
and it just is like one of my favorite things I've ever read, and I don't know why that hasn't gotten a manga adaptation. And it's kind of in the same vein as these shows are. It's also not. It's like it's more martial arts than it is necessarily just pure delinquents, but there's like a delinquent element from what I remember. It's actually been more than a decade since I read this. It's been a while.
Mm.
I think it's been more than a decade. Yeah, I think I read it before I went to college. It's been a long time.
I will say for Windbreaker, it is a delinquent anime, um, but it is a little different. I'll say that it's like a little different
Why?
than Tokyo Revengers. I don't know if it's like a. I feel like it's like a spoiler to the first episode if I were to tell you why,
Oh,
but like they're not delinquents.
okay.
Yeah, so like it's not like Tokyo Revengers where it's just like dudes being guys and fighting for their level, their block on the turf.
Okay.
It's a different objective for the delinquents that is interesting and kind of refreshing and cool.
Interesting.
Your
Maybe that's enough to
face.
make me watch it. I don't know. we'll have to see.
You don't have to watch it. I'm not convincing you, but it is like it's like I said, it's the same. It's similar to Tokyo Revengers, just in like the attitudes of the people of the main characters, and like that the fact that they are delinquents and like tough guys and all that.
Mm,
And at the same time, you see their super objective, which is different from a conventional delinquent.
okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Like I said, maybe that's actually enough to convince me to watch it. It's not
Okay,
like
but
it's not like I'm against watching it. Like it's not like I sat there, looked at that, and said I'm actively not going to watch that. That doesn't interest me. There was definitely some interest. I just haven't started it yet.
but like there wasn't anything about the person with like half gray and half black and a yellow and a like what is it, dark blue eye. There was nothing like there for you that made you be like I have to see this now. There that didn't happen.
No, definitely not. That just looks like every sports anime roster. It just, I don't know. It didn't feel particularly unique. I don't know.
I have to say something though. This conversation is nice, but I do think we have to shift our focus to the number one hottie of the season.
Which is whom?
Which is what?
Which is who?
Um, God, what the hell is his name? No, that's his name in Windbreaker. I don't remember his name, but I'm talking about the bartender. Number one hottie of the season. Number one. Oh man, wow, he can make it drinking. Yeah, something else.
Is that a fact?
It's a proven fact. Everybody knows.
Oh,
Everybody knows. Number one hottie of the season
it's
is
a
that guy in
proven fact.
bartender.
What sparked that for
His
you?
hair.
Oh,
Just kidding. No, he's so good. Okay, he's a phenomenal. He just like
listener,
he listens. He just listens to everybody around him, including the women. It's so good. It's so good. I love him. I love him. He is I can't wait to I mean, ooh, I cannot I okay. I will say one sentence. I will say one actual sentence since I host a podcast. Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal character. I I I would love to see the demographic of folks who watch and love the show. Like I would love to
hmm,
see who has bought most of the manga. Like, and is it women and femmies? Like, is it us? Because like there's something about him that
interesting. I didn't think
when
about
I'm
that.
watching it, he's so dreamy.
Oh, you know what's really interesting now that you say that though? For
Yeah.
whatever reason, I felt like they made him look more blocky in his character design than in the manga. Like,
Really?
like I said, I think I said this a couple weeks ago when I actually read Bartender. I think I was still in high school,
Mm-hmm.
just because I was curious about what it was like to go to a bar and like obviously had gained a very incomplete and definitely not accurate portrayal of what every bar experience was going to be like. But um, if I remember correctly, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong because again, it's been like over a decade at least uh, since I first read this. I feel like he just was not as I don't know. Like I think he had more defined features in the
Interesting.
manga that were sharper and I yeah, I just remember
So,
that being the case.
so what you're saying is he's hotter in the manga.
I think he's more conventionally attractive in the manga, if I remember correctly. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. You should check. You should check and report back and let us know.
I'll have to read about him nightly. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But this show for me, so you know me, I always try to have a palate cleanse every season
Yeah.
because I'm pretty much always watching whatever big shonen is coming out that season.
Yeah.
And again, I kind of was like, maybe I won't continue with this like high school romance, like kind of been there, done that. And like if it's not Tomo-chan is a girl, it's not for me, maybe. But because Bartender is so interesting and somewhat informative, and like
Yeah,
teaching me about drinks and liquors, and like I'm not a drinker really at all,
yeah.
and so like I wouldn't give
You're not.
I wouldn't care, like I could care less.
Yeah,
um but it's still interesting,
yeah,
and like the story that they're building around the drink and the craft of being a bartender is really really interesting, and the stakes are high enough where I'm invested, but low enough where I it feels like a palate cleanse. It feels
yeah.
calm, it feels hopeful. And then the main character is hot. So like what could be better? How do you feel having now watching it, being someone who's read it and now watching it?
There's a question that I've been waiting to be answered by the anime, like because in the season so far, and this isn't really very much a spoiler, but if
No.
you're watching Bartender, if you're not watching Bartender so far, there's a bartender and there's a group of people who are trying to convince him to work in their hotel's bar, and that's what's happened so far.
Mm-hmm.
I think back to where I was in the manga, which is definitely much farther into the story than what it is now.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that I never watched, or excuse me, read the beginning of this story. So all this is new to me, which is really cool. So what must have
Wow.
happened is it must have been like three-fourths of the way into the story, and every week and I imagine it must have come out at this on the same time, or at the same time, or on the same day as maybe like a Bleach or Naruto when I was reading back then, because
Mm.
I must have seen it come out on a regular basis and just decided one day to just pick it up wherever it was and see what it was about, and then I just decided to stick with it, which I
Wow.
didn't normally do.
No.
That but that makes sense for this because again, my interest in reading this was purely curiosity, and I really didn't have any intention of really reading the story. I just wanted to see what this manga that came out every single week called Bartender was about. So this beginning is very this is all new to me. So I have no idea what's coming next. But I feel like I have a vision for where he ends up working, and I don't know if it's that hotel or where he is or somewhere else, but none of the environment seems familiar to me. So I just that's been the question on my mind this whole time is like, where is he actually going to go? Is he going to stay there? Is he going to go there? Are they going to remodel? Is he going to go somewhere else? Like, I really don't know. But I agree with you. Somehow, some way, a topic that I have zero interest in, which is mixing alcohol. That's never been me, and I've never been in a position where I've had to produce a cocktail.
Yes.
Really has made it
Yes.
extremely interesting and yeah, absolutely informative. And I laugh though because I know people who are bartenders, and I know for a fact that the level of passion and commitment to the craft that he has is definitely different than a regular bartender would. I'd be
Yes.
curious to actually hear from bartenders who are watching the show what their perspective and opinion is on the show, and
Ah.
how it has changed the way that they approach their job, if at all. For some, they may just see it because I mean, I was just talking the other day to a teacher who watches Abbott Elementary. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but it's like about a school, and they
Yeah.
actually really love it. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
curious. Like, I'm sure doctors hate Grey's Anatomy, but that's neither here nor there. But I'd be curious, like, what bartenders think about Bartender because it
Yeah.
is really interesting, and he definitely like inspires other bartenders who are even in the first few episodes. We meet a character who's kind of lost their passion for bartending, and he
Yeah.
reinvigorates it. It's interesting. I really like it. I really like it. Are you
Yeah.
watching it in dubbed or is it only out in subbed?
I think it's only out in subbed.
Is it okay? Yeah, because I'm
Because I'm
watching it
watching
in
it
subbed.
week to week. So like even if it
Yeah,
was out in the dub, like I'm watching it every week.
yeah.
Yeah, I would be interested to know what bartenders think about this. I honestly I feel like so many of them would probably be like this is overrated or like whatever. Like I don't know if I'm thinking about someone who's just like works like at a pub in the Times Square or something. I'm like, they're not thinking about, well, if I mix it for 1 whole minute, it will go down 2 temperatures, and then it will be the perfect drinking temperature. Like, they're not thinking like that.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
but I would be interested to know what, like, bartenders that work at like, I don't know, like really expensive places, or hotels, casinos. I don't know. Do good bartenders work at casinos?
Maybe. I mean, drinks are free there, so maybe not. Are they not?
No, really?
I feel like most drinks are somewhat free. No?
Drinks aren't free.
In
Maybe.
Vegas?
Okay. I'm thinking of Atlantic City,
Okay.
which I went on a bachelorette trip there, but like they have restaurants and stuff. Like it's like a whole
Oh, sure.
it's a whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
so
You can
so
order
that's sorry.
drinks to the side of your, like, to the table. I've not been to a casino, so I don't know why I'm opening my mouth. I don't know why I've never been to a casino, but I've not. But I thought, like, they try to pump you full of alcohol, so you get disoriented and you risk more, and you don't leave the bar. And that's also why there's no windows, so that you don't know what time of the day it is. Like, I thought it was all part of the plan.
Binge Monster. We've been friends for at least a full decade.
Yeah.
Do you think me would be caught at a table in a casino on any good day?
I think out of the two of us, you would be more likely to be strung along to go visit one. But no, I don't think that you would ever actively wake
Strung
up.
along.
Why
Oh my
not?
god, strung along like
Why
I'm
not?
some follower.
Well, you went to a bachelorette party at a casino, didn't you?
You have to go to the bachelorette. We didn't go to a table. We went to like the 70s club in there.
Oh, well, I don't know. Like, you could
It's
have gone and
fine.
bet some money.
It's fine. We all can't be the perfect man that is the bartender. Okay, I get it. He would have known that I wouldn't be caught red-handed at a jackpot. Wait, what is it called? Jackbox? Jack block? What is it?
A blackjack table?
See,
Wow.
he would have known that I wouldn't even know what it's called.
You know what's funny? I
What?
often get told that it's shocking that I've never been to a casino, and then people make fun of me, and then I'm like, really? Like, do you like it? And they're like, no, you're not really missing out on anything. So it just feels very strange to both be judged for not having really been to one, while also just proactively warning me not to go because it's not worth it. I don't know if you've ever felt that, but I certainly have.
Yeah. But I also have another question. So wait, how far are you in Kaiju? Like, did you watch
I'm
the
on.
opening, or
No,
is there?
I literally watched episode 1 and 2, and I have not.
I think there's only 3 out.
Oh, then I'm one episode behind.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So the music background in Kaiju,
Yeah.
it just gets better and better. I've been saving it into a playlist on Spotify.
Oh,
Just
really? For
the
working out?
beats. Just I don't know, for vibes, for like anything. Just
Yeah.
to have it like very readily accessible to me.
Okay.
It's very, very good.
I was gonna ask you if you're caught up on kaiju.
I am
I
caught up on Kaiju.
I have no reason for not being caught up on kaiju, other than I guess I've been a little busy and I was trying to catch up on Shogun this weekend. I also went to the zoo this weekend, which was an all day thing, but I don't normally do
Oh my
that.
god. You've been everywhere.
I have been everywhere.
I don't know. So like when I'm thinking about this season, it's like all of the things that I'm watching, definitely my top 2 are Bartender and Kaiju.
Mm.
And that's how I would bucket them, just because like Kaiju is like my exciting shonen, what's gonna happen kind of thing, even though I read Kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bartender is the palate cleanse. So like I'm checking off all the boxes that like I need in an anime season. And at the same time, like, is it slow? And I feel like I want to say yeah. like I feel like I want to say that I'm feeling a slow season. I don't know what it is. Like I mean I'm not caught up on slime, so like maybe that's not something that's like getting me going. And like yeah, my hero, I didn't even realize that came back, and almost I guess I'm dodging a bullet in that I didn't know it came back and I'm not really missing anything.
You're not.
Um but it's kind of slow. Like I don't know what it is, and like Kaiju's so good, so I equally want to contradict myself in saying that. But like even Windbreakers, I'm like it's good, it's fun, it's a cool, fun, inventive thing. But like I'm still like 1 or 2 episodes behind. Like, and I'm not like, oh no, like I just gotta know what happens. It feels slow to me. Yeah.
I I think that like everybody in both Slime and My Hero's comments on Crunchyroll would say the same thing. I feel a little less frustrated with the pacing of Slime because I don't just see it as a battle shonen, and I think a lot of people, especially like the mass populace, like when they watch that, they really appreciate the fighting moments the most because it is beautifully animated and it is really cool, and the like mechanics behind the powers are interesting and so forth. And I think it's because of those elements that Slime has the popularity that it does. But it is heavily dialogue focused right now. It is heavily plot building focused right now. My
Mm.
Hero is 4 episodes wasted as far as I'm concerned. Demon Slayer hasn't even started yet, and Kaiju is just getting off the ground. I don't know. I feel like across the board, it's extremely slow in general. Um, at least that's what I think a lot of people are saying. But I kind of agree with that. Like I said, Slime is a little bit of the exception. I just know that a lot of people are frustrated with Slime right now. I'm not necessarily in that camp, but it does feel a little bit slow. And it's confusing because there are so many like great titles that are currently airing right now that you would think that there would be, I don't know, just more momentum. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully like by the mid season or by the end this ends up being a much stronger season than is currently, I don't know, playing out. But I actually agree with you on one thing you said, which is that Bartender is of the two best things that I'm watching right now. For sure. It is.
Easily.
Having not watched episode 3 of Kaiju and maybe not even finishing episode 2, I don't know if I can say that Kaiju is the second best because like I said, I do like Slime. But the thing, as far as like freshness and things that I'm most excited to watch, and my behavior reflects that because I'm caught up to date, I think Bartender is the best thing I'm watching right now, which I'm really enjoying.
Bartender, it's the best thing. Like, and you know, I have recently gone through something very sad in my life, so like maybe that's why like I missed a whole week of anime and I kind of caught up this week because last
Mm,
week was just like a wash. I was like I
yeah.
don't exist outside outside of dealing with what I'm going through. And so like, but Bartender I did watch, and I think it's just like for me, like maybe it is like where I'm at right now. Like I am looking for something a little bit easier, a little bit lower stakes. And like I know Kaiju will jump up, but I don't know. Like there's nothing where the hero has to save the world.
Mm,
And I'm like, I wonder if that, like, I don't know if that's happening in Slime, but I'm just trying to think of a time when I was like, oh yeah, because I just keep thinking about Attack on Titan. I'm like, I keep going back there. I was amped. I was like at my desk at the
mm.
TV the second it came
Every
out
week. Yeah.
every week, and that I think is the one of the last things that I've been like that for. Like just so excited to watch it, just to see what's gonna happen because obviously, like we were at the final season, the stakes were so high.
Right.
Um, and, you know, I think I'll be a little bit more like that once My Hero does start. Like
Yeah.
once I get that first episode of where of and drop us right into where the story is
Yes.
right now, I think I will
Yes.
be there.
Same.
Um and Kaiju right now, like it's in its first season and we're still kind of building who these characters are.
Mhm.
and the circumstance that is, I think, going to bring us into the greater story of Kaiju number 8. So, like, I can understand why that's slow right now. You know, it's not like we're opening with, like, oh, in the first 2 episodes, so and so just happens upon some powers and now they're OP and they have to save the world. Like, it's not that. It's like we're seeing like a sort of a grind to success or not, depending on, you know, where you're at in it.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. What that was just like something that I thought of in kind of hearing you talk and assessing also in the background.
We'll see. We'll see what the rest of this season looks like. Is there anything airing on Netflix that is Netflix only right
Exclusive.
now?
No,
That
there is something on High Dive that I think people were excited for, but I cannot remember what it was.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation the other day about trying to justify the subscription to High Dive, and there's usually at least like one good thing that's new per. I was going to say per quarter, but I meant per season. And I
Sounding
actually
more
don't know what that is
corporate.
this season on High Dive.
When are we getting more Made in Abyss?
Ugh,
Are there any plans for that?
that'd be
That
phenomenal. I
creepy little
don't think
show.
so. I don't
Uh,
think that they made an announcement. Maybe they did, but I don't recall off the top of my head. I don't recall.
mm-hmm.
But it should get picked up.
More Made in Abyss. It's so weird. I love it. It's so freaking weird.
And the other title that they have going for them, this is obviously just my perspective, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon, which I have watched for years and years and years and years. And
Someone told me today that I would like that.
I don't know that if I agree with that. Maybe you would. Maybe
But
you would.
you've told me they're not slime balls. It sounds like, because it sounds like a show where guys are going to be slime balls, and you told me
No,
no.
if anything, the main character, who is a guy, is super pure
Uh
and
huh.
has never done anything to imply otherwise.
Hmm.
But the women, I mean, it's like a harem, like that he rejects,
Oh.
and he doesn't
Oh.
try to entertain it. He's not like leaning into it. Like there's just women all around him because he's so pure, who are just like super down and
I gotta
super
take a
into him.
bite.
Yeah, and he's just this like no character, and like, but like when shit hits the fan, he's that guy. Like he's that guy. So
Mm.
I think also people kind of like that too. They're like, oh, you can be like as pure and sweethearted, but when it like comes down to it, like you're a
You're that
problem.
guy.
Yeah, you
Ah.
got it, you got it handled. So I think I I think they do a great job of catering to men in the sense like to male viewers because the fight scenes are
Yeah.
excellent and like really excellent. And then like I bet you there are a lot of fans who are women who just like him as a character, but also it's a cool storyline too. Like there's all the different gods across all the different religions like have a guild in the human world, and then they go into a dungeon and fight, and it is super interesting.
Hmm.
But I don't like. I mean, maybe you would watch
Maybe
season
I
one and
would.
tell me if you actually did like it. I'd be curious. I don't know if you would like it though. It'd be.
I'll watch Slime or Doctor Stone before I watch Is It Wrong to Pick Up
Oh,
Girls in
I
a
didn't realize you
Dungeon?
hadn't watched Doctor Stone. You haven't seen anything in Doctor Stone?
Anything. I'm so interested and I want to binge it, but I haven't seen it. I'm almost waiting to find the time to finally finish Black Clover, which I think I'm just going to have to start going back and forth from the dub and the sub because I really want to watch it in sub because I don't
Uh
like Asta's English VO
oh,
or
really?
VA, pardon me. But I got to be able to fold the laundry and know what's going on, you know?
I just watched blue
Black
the
Clover.
the Black Clover movie that just came out,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I also watched that on the plane like a couple weeks ago. That was good.
Mm.
But I guess that is it in terms of our discussion around this season and whether it's slow. Seems like we both kind of agree on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a binge monster.
And I'm a green queen.